who was the baker?
My grandfather.
I would love for you to tell that story. I was telling my dad and my brother that story last night.
The story about my father making the matzoh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just 1 second. This is my daughter Talia from Israel.
Hi,
Hello.
Talia.
Hi, welcome.
She's doing the Pesach with us. I didn't see my daughter 2 years. I didn't see her because of the coronavirus. So now I'm very happy that she is with us.
Very nice.
Hello.
By the way, the Manchek name is a Jewish name.
Well, the family was Jewish, yes, definitely.
No, but I was looking
I can get
in
that. Got the
Alexander
voice.
Bieber's book. If
Uh-huh.
you can check it out there.
Doesn't sound like they're having
So
a
we're not
sleep.
Smith.
I know how you get them. Huh?
One of the other editors at
There was your hat.
when he was looking at my article,
I don't know, they
I
invited you
described the pronunciation. He said it was actually
to
Mon.
find your local, here, Zoom.
So
I don't know.
No, but Muriel, I want you to share the story. I love this story.
yeah, so my grandfather, Leibel Masbaum, was a baker in Gombin. And my father told me his memories about the Pesach time. So when
They
he
give
was a
you
little
numbers to
boy,
call.
my
They give you phone numbers to call. I don't know.
my grandfather made the matzah and my father had a little,
I don't know, you can listen to it.
and she made the holes in the matzah. And my father told me there were two bakeries in
I
Gombin.
had them before.
Oh, you
There
had
were
them?
two bakeries,
You want to move in a little bit?
and
I've heard them.
one
This,
York.
baker was angry with the other one and wanted to make a lot of money.
No,
Pesach.
Can people mute their microphones if they're not talking so we can hear Muriel, please?
I don't know, they're talking, so I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't.
And so the two bakers told things about the other one. And one time, my grandfather was very angry with the other baker. He took a pack of flour and put it and throw it in the bakery of the other one. So it was not kosher pizza anymore. And everyone went to my grandfather's bakery. So this is the story of the baker, Mastbaum.
That's a great story.
George Nozel told me that the matzah they used in Gombin and Kutno was round rather than square. I don't know. And 3 layers. I don't know what that means, but
I think it's right. They were round. They were round.
Here's,
And my father told me all his life he remember how to make the little holes in one. That's why
I have a round matzah here from a traditional Jewish baker here in
Oh,
Detroit.
wow.
They send it, and it's round matzah. This is very traditional.
And I have a round matzah cover that I'm holding
Yes.
up
yeah.
that was specifically for round matzah, but not from Gombin, I don't think.
That'd be cool.
And I made for Pesach sweet cup like my father learned me. What it's called now in Poland, the Jewish fish. When you go to Poland now and you want to have Jewish fish, you have sweet cup. You take a cup, you put it in slices with carrots and onions and sugar, of course.
Interesting.
And we ate it yesterday and we ate it tonight.
Lovely. So,
It's a tradition.
that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing. That's such a great story.
I want to comment on the round matzah.
You want a photo from our Seder from yesterday?
Please, yeah.
Okay, I will share screen. So just a second.
Okay.
Whoever is the host, can you please allow me to share screen?
Yeah, let me figure out how to do that. And I will definitely do that.
Okay, you go on share screen, the little
Yeah, no,
green
I
one,
get it.
and you
Okay.
click multiple, allow multiple
Yeah,
share
I
screen.
gotcha. There you go.
Okay. Now. Okay, so that's the thing. So if you can, you see, this is our fish, and the
Oh,
male of the household, the father takes the head of the fish. It was a great honor. So now my father isn't there anymore, so it's my husband who got the fish, the head of the fish. This is the charoset. I did it myself with Tamar, dates from Israel. My daughter brought me a whole box, and the rest you know, I think.
Which one? No, it's
Front section.
it's on the table, isn't it?
So you have the eggs, you have the salt water, you have the maror, you have radish, and celery, and this is chicken wings. Yes, it's sometimes I forget my English, so I speak Yiddish with my daughters.
Oh, beautiful. They know Yiddish. Tell me about your candlestick holders. Those are beautiful.
They are from Israel.
They're gorgeous.
And this is the same matzah you had. You showed before. It's a red, the round one.
Round one.
The matzah
Right.
shmura. Okay, dann kannst du wieder auf. So.
Beautiful. I think we should come to your house for Pesach next year.
You're welcome. Everyone is welcome.
So I think we'll get started. I'm going to share my screen, which has the Haggadah, in case you didn't have a chance to download it, we'll be able to share it. And then I know, Bernie, you're scheduled to start our Seder. So I'm going to share the Haggadah, and then we will get started. Let me just find.
Nice to see so many people. From Poland, from Israel, from all over the US. Florida. Where else?
Is there a former president here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know everybody on the screen, so welcome.
Yeah, Bernie, maybe you want to have everyone introduce themselves if we think it's necessary.
Yeah, okay. I'm Bernie Geyer. I'm your current president of the Gombin Society. Nobody else would do it, so here I am. I'm so happy to see everybody. We didn't know exactly how many people would turn up, but it's wonderful to have you all and to share this virtual Pesach Seder with you. Oh, good. Sylvia and Roger are from London. Welcome. So I just, before we begin, this is, I think, the fifth or sixth event of the virtual Gombin series. So I want to remind you that next month in April, I think on the 18th, Lindsay Max is going to do a presentation from her recent article that will be in the Smithsonian magazine, Folklore magazine. And please keep an eye out for the announcement. We'll hear about the Gombiner societies that her family was part of, and the large Max Menchik family that is in Israel, all over the world, really, in South America, US, and elsewhere. So welcome to it. Is there any other housekeeping, Vicky, that we should do?
No, I think
Max.
Why
didn't you come out and get me?
Come out?
We're recording.
I never left.
I didn't know, but I thought you did.
Michael, mute your screen when you're chatting. We're recording this session, so it will be posted to the website with all the other former virtual Gombin sessions. So you can come back and see it and find out who else was here. So I was going to start off by reminding you all of Melvin Vrubel, who I knew in Detroit when I was a kid. And is everybody seeing the screen, Vicky,
Yes.
on the share screen?
I
Yeah.
think
So I knew Melvin when I was a kid in Detroit, and he was a survivor and moved eventually to Los Angeles, where he was a docent at the Holocaust Center, and told his story of survival in work camps and concentration camps, but always with a very positive, you know, we will survive kind of attitude. Unfortunately, Vicky, I can't read my own screen here because, well, maybe I could get it on my screen.
Did you say, can we ask everybody, Bernie, to mute themselves?
Yes,
If they're not
you can mute.
You can actually mute people.
I will do that.
You can mute all.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Hang on.
Door's open, but I can't
Can't hear who's doing the talking there. Hang on. All right, I'm going to mute everybody.
turn it up a little.
So, and I have to unmute. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Vicky?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So this article appears in a B'nai Gombin in April 2005. I interviewed Melvin, I don't know, a year or two before his death. And I was so glad to hear about, because I don't really know any stories about Pesach in Gombin. This is the only one that I really know about. Oh, thank you for making it larger. So
You're muted.
he talks about people buying ducks and geese and chickens and fattening them up for the holiday. He talks about Hinda Lasky's family as being a well-known family in Gombin. We knew some Laskys in Michigan, but maybe some of you also have connections to the Lasky family. I don't know I think it was a large family, and I don't know everybody. But it was clear that the Pesach was the time of spring cleaning and people getting their houses ready. He talks about cleaning the mattresses and restuffing them with soft materials and getting the dishes down and all the things, and each child receiving new underwear and shirts and suits for the Yontif. So it was obviously a very active and lively time. And it's wonderful to have this story about the baking of matzah in Gombin. And I hope, Muriel, you and your family will write some of that up so that we can post it to the website and have more information on what, and maybe we've got something from George Nozel as well about his memories of Pesach in Gombin. There must have been a lot of courting going on in Gombin.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Muriel, I hope you'll write something up about your father's baking matzah your grandfather's baking matzah in Gombin, so that we can post it to the website. Did you hear me?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
lovely.
Okay.
So you're welcome to read this article about Melvin and what went on. I also, I think I told some of you that I once found a little booklet that was not about Gombin, but it had a story about how the floors were taken care of in the little village houses that people lived in. That just fascinated me. I remember my mother telling that they lived in a house. They were a pretty middle-class family. Her father was a merchant. They lived in a house that had a mud floor. And I always wondered what a mud floor would be like to live with. And apparently at Pesach time, people scraped off a lot of the old dirt from their floors, and they made fresh mud, a kind of mud mixture, and they spread it on the floors and allowed it to harden. And it made a very hard kind of earthen floor that was very durable, and they polished it and made it very clean. And that's how people lived. And that all happened right around Pesach time. So it's good to remember these stories from Gombin and be able to connect what we do now to what they did then. I'm not sure I can answer any questions, so let's move on. I'll turn over to you, Vicky. I can't hear anyone.
Okay, now everybody can hear me, yes?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, so we're going to begin with, hopefully you can all see my screen, and we will begin our Seder. The first Pesach or Passover was celebrated 3,000 years ago when the people of Israel liberated themselves from the oppression of the Egyptian slave masters and began their march towards freedom. We honor all people who have struggled or are struggling for their freedom as we share the aspirations of our liberal ancestors. As it is said, each person in every generation must regard him or herself as having been personally freed from bondage in Mitzrayim, the biblical land of Egypt. This week, Jews all over the world are observing Pesach at their own Seders with the retelling of the story of Passover. Haggadah means telling. And now Anita will help us guide us in lighting the candles.
Blessed, blessed is the spirit of freedom, in whose honor we kindle the lights this holiday, Passover, the season of freedom. Blessed is the force of life that brings to us this year's spring, to this renewal of our quest for freedom. Pesach has its roots in the ancient spring festivals of farmers and shepherds who celebrated the sacred season of rebirth. The early Hebrews were shepherds and farmers who shared these customs and carried them forward into the diaspora, adapting and interpreting them in new ways.
Bernie? Bernie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let us fill our cups and toast the first of 4 traditional cups of wine. I'm using coffee here in California because it's still morning. We dedicate this cup of wine to spring, a time of rebirth. Blessed is the earth which brings forth the fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Okay. So I don't know. Can you guys, if I'm sharing my screen, and this is the part I don't know, can you see me so I can share my Seder plate?
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to lift my computer because it's a very heavy Seder plate, but I don't know if you can all see that. Hopefully you can. Okay. Matzah, shank bone, bitter herbs, parsley, salt water, charoset. These make this night different from all other nights. And so Lindsay, we're going to turn it over to you and Anita.
Why do we eat only matzah and no bread on this night?
When we left Egypt to escape being slaves, we were in a hurry. We didn't have time to wait for the bread to rise. So we baked the flatbread called matzah to take with us. The afikomen is a piece of matzah wrapped in a napkin and then hidden. When we find it, it reminds us that what is broken is not really lost to our people, as long as our children search and remember.
Sorry, I was following your directions. My horseradish. Why do we eat bitter herbs on this night?
The bitter taste helps us remember how it felt when we were slaves and how people feel when they are robbed of dignity.
My parsley. Why do we dip our food in salt water 2 times on this night?
The first time, the salty taste reminds us of the tears we cried when we were slaves. The second time, the salt water and the greens help us to remember how the earth and sea are joined together to sustain life.
Why do we sit and relax when we eat on this night?
A long time ago, free people sat down to eat, but slaves weren't allowed to sit and relax. Tonight, we sit and eat slowly, so we'll remember, never again shall we allow ourselves to be enslaved. There are other interesting foods on the tray too.
In olden days, our ancestors sacrificed a lamb to their god. They ate young lamb in the spring. There's also a story that the blood of a lamb marked the doors of the houses of the Jews so that the angel of death would pass over their houses and strike only Egyptians.
Eggs are the symbol of springtime, fertility, and giving life. Passover comes in a time of renewal.
This mixture of apples, nuts, wine, and cinnamon made into a paste is called charoset. It symbolizes the mortar and bricks that our ancestors used to build the pyramids. But the charoset is also sweet tasting and reminds us that even in the most bitter times of slavery, our people remembered the sweet taste of freedom.
Blessed is the fruit of the earth, which nourishes and sustains us. The second cup of wine. As we recall the liberation from slavery of our own people, we are able to empathize with the plight of other peoples. This continent in the United States was built in part by seizing land from Native Americans and then through the enslavement of Blacks who were wretched from rich, strong cultures of their own. All physical slavery involves spiritual slavery as well. We Jews know that we have often been robbed of a sense of dignity and pride. We dedicate ourselves tonight to freeing body and soul of all human beings. L'chaim.
Chaim, to life.
Life. Blessed be the earth which brings forth the fruit of the vine.
Amen.
Our traditional Passover story begins at a time over 3,000 years ago when our ancestors, Jacob, Rachel, and Leah, their children and grandchildren, left their homes in Canaan because of a severe famine. Without enough food and water to survive, they traveled many days across barren land to the land of Egypt. There, they found food and built new homes. Oh wait, can you scroll a little bit? There we go. At first, the Egyptians welcomed the Israelites. They lived and worked together in peace. But over the years, as the number of Israelites increased, the Egyptians became more and more afraid that they would turn against them and destroy them. No one knows exactly why the Egyptians feared the Hebrews. Perhaps it was built because of their different customs and beliefs. For whatever reason, the Egyptians became afraid, so they forced the Hebrews to become their slaves. But the more they were oppressed, the more they increased and spread out into the land. Seeing that slavery and oppression could not destroy the Israelites, the Egyptian king, or Pharaoh as he was called, ordered the death of all boys born to Hebrew women. In order to save her child, one Israelite woman put her baby in a basket and then placed the basket in the Nile River. The baby's sister, Miriam, followed the basket so she could see what became of her brother. It so happened that Pharaoh's daughter was bathing in the river when she saw the basket. She took the baby home to raise as her own and called him Moses. Miriam had been watching, and she offered herself to his mother as a nursemaid. Thus, Moses was raised knowing the Hebrew people. One day, when Moses was grown up, he came upon an Egyptian slave master beating a Hebrew slave. He killed the slave master, and then, afraid for his own life, he fled through the desert into the land of Midian. There he lived many years as a shepherd. He married and had children. Life seemed good until one day, while grazing his flock, Moses saw a bush on fire, but it wasn't burning. Not only didn't it burn, but a voice also spoke from it, telling Moses to return to Egypt to free his people. Moses wasn't sure he believed what he saw and heard that day, but he did know in his heart that he must return to Egypt and try to free the Israelites. Moses understood that his task would not be easy. He would try to negotiate with Pharaoh, but if this failed, he was prepared to use magic, threats, and force. With courage and conviction in his cause, Moses left his life and family in Midian and began his journey to Egypt. Pharaoh, of course, said no, the slaves can't go, and peaceful negotiation ended. The story says that then came plagues, one by one, descending upon Egypt. While the Hebrew people hoped the plagues would persuade Pharaoh to release them, they also grieved for the Egyptians. Thus, for each plague, we reduced the wine in our cups by 1 drop to give expression to our sorrow for the pain and loss which each plague caused to the people of Egypt.
Okay, here are the plagues: blood, frogs, lice, wild beasts, blight, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, slaying of the firstborn. Many Egyptians perished, and their suffering was great. Each time a plague appeared, Pharaoh agreed to let the Jews go, but each time the plague vanished, Pharaoh refused to let them go. Finally, amidst great sorrow over the death of the firstborn, Pharaoh ordered Moses to take his people out of the land, and Moses did. The people arose in the midst of their oppressors and fled from bondage. The story says the Red Sea parted to let them through, but closed to prevent their oppressors from pursuing them. Whether miracle, natural, or coincidental, the freeing of the Jews from Egypt is a powerful and moving story. Had they not fled, we would not be here. Each drop of wine also stands for the hope that we can wipe out plagues of injustice which cause such pain and loss to all people everywhere. We grieve for the plagues of making war, teaching hate, despoiling the earth, neglecting human needs, oppressing people, denying freedom. Down through the ages, each generation has suffered from plagues. Therefore, our sages ordained that each year we should remember the exodus of our people from Egypt. In celebrating this feast of Pesach, the season of that liberation, let us remember to keep vigilance for freedom in our own time, both as individuals and as a people. Freedom from slaveholders in Egypt was only the first step to liberation. Our sages said, not only was it necessary to take the Jews out of Egypt, but it was necessary to take Egypt out of the Jews. the minds of the Jews remained enslaved through 40 long years in the desert. Every time there was a crisis, the Jews forgot the bitterness of slavery and remembered only the security. For this reason, it wasn't until the Jews were able to take responsibility for their lives and decisions that they became a free people and were able to enter the land of ancient Israel and live in peace and freedom.
Third cup of wine, l'chaim, to life. Baruch ha'adama borei pri hagafen. Blessed is the earth which brings forth the fruit of the vine. Elijah, we have eaten the feast of our freedom. We have recalled the redemption of our people. The hope of Passover reaches out through the Jewish people. It embraces all humanity. Many centuries ago, there lived a prophet whose name was Elijah. He was a brave man who spoke out against the slavery of his day. Legend has it that he never died and that he will return someday. Then he will announce the coming of a new world in which war, human cruelty, and the enslavement of one person by another will find no place on this earth. In Elijah, we see the hope and the vision of all who are wise. Their spirit brings a message of hope for the future, brings faith in the goodness within us, and brings the assurance that freedom will come to all. Let us open the door and invite Elijah to enter and join with us as we drink the fourth cup of wine, the fourth cup of our heritage. May the spirit of Elijah enter the hearts of all of us and inspire us to help build a world in which justice and freedom shall be the inheritance of all men, women, and children.
Has everyone found the afikomen?
Not yet.
What do we got?
More wine.
Yay, great present.
Speaking of which, fourth cup of wine to the future. We dedicate the final cup of wine to our hopes and dreams for the future. We dream of a world not threatened by destruction or full of hunger. We dream of a world in which all people are free to be themselves. We dream of a world at peace. Blessed is the earth that brings forth the fruit of the vine. Baruch ha'adamah borei pri hagafen. Next year, may all the world be at peace.
Be at peace.
Amen.
Amen. Bernie.
Oh, I very much like this poem by Marge Piercy. Some of you may know it. I particularly like the fact that Marge Piercy came from Detroit, where we come from. So, the courage to let go of the door, the handle, the courage to shed the familiar walls whose very stains and leaks are comfortable as little moles on the upper arm, stains that recall a feast, a child's naughtiness, a loud blathering storm that slapped the roof hard, pouring through. The courage to abandon the graves dug into the hill, the small bones of children and the brittle bones of the old whose marrow hunger had stolen. The courage to desert the tree planted and only begun to bear, the riverside where promises were shaped, the street where their empty pots were broken. The courage to leave the place whose language you learned as early as your own, whose customs, however dangerous or demeaning, bind you like a halter. You have learned to pull inside, to move your load. The land fertile with the blood spilled on it, the roads mapped and annotated for survival. The courage to walk out of the pain that is known into the pain that cannot be imagined. Maples, walking into the wilderness, going barefoot with a canteen into the desert, stuffed in the stinking hold of rotting ship, sailing off the map into dragons' mouths. Cathay, India, Siberia, Golden and Medina, leaving bodies by the way like abandoned treasure. So they walked out of Egypt, so they bribed their way out of Russia under loads of straw. So they steamed out of the bloody, smoking charnel houses of Europe on overloaded freighters forbidden all ports. Out of pain into death or freedom, or a different painful dignity into squalor and politics. We Jews are all born of wanderers, with shoes under our pillows and a memory of blood that is ours raining down. We honor only those Jews who changed tonight, those who chose the desert over bondage, who walked into the strange and became strangers, and gave birth to children who could look down on them, standing on their shoulders for having been slaves. We honor those who let go of everything but freedom, who ran, who revolted, who fought, who became other by saving themselves. And go back to those pictures. So this man in this picture is my grandfather. It's Vicky's great-grandfather, Manol Risman in Gombin. This is a one panel from the 1937 rifle film of Gombin. So, thank you.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you, Bernie. Well, that kind of concludes our service, but we're open to talk about everybody or answer questions about the future of the society or just kind of tell more stories. Lindsay, you might know some people on the screen that you heard interesting things from. I know we talked about Mariel's family, but if there's anything that might strike out from your research or some way to kind of finish this. I don't mean to put you on the spot. If I am,
I just want to make sure I have enough material.
I wanted just to show you.
Pardon?
It's a Haggadah from my birth date. It's in German and Hebrew. And we do our Pesach Seder in German, Hebrew, and France, in 3 languages.
Wow.
So it was printed in Jerusalem on my birthday in 1963.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Does that mean you get 12 cups of wine instead of 4?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
I said, does that mean you get 12 cups of wine instead of 4 since you're doing it in 3 different languages?
No, no, I really can't.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Can I say something? In the piece you read at the beginning, Bernie, about, let me see his name, Melvin, okay? I used to live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and at the synagogue, the shul I belonged to there was a large contingent of Lasky families.
Oh.
Really?
It's mentioned. They came to Charlotte via Cuba.
Oh.
Yeah, but they're still there. They're quite prominent in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm in London now, but when I saw the name Lasky, it just took me back, to those really. Yeah.
Do you
A
have
lot
any
of people
connections?
did that. They went to Cuba first and then here because they weren't permitted here.
Yeah.
I forget who I interviewed, but they called it Hotel Havana because it was just a temporary stop on the way here.
Yeah. So anyway, but they ended up in Charlotte, and there's still there's a fairly large Lasky family in Charlotte.
Can I, Vicky, can I ask, I see Wojtek and Karen here, how Jewish people in Poland today celebrate Pesach?
It's so good you joined.
Yeah.
It's many different ways, but mostly Ashkenazi tradition. It's a little bit different that what we did tonight together, and more with prayers and blessings, reading psalms, and much longer.
Yes.
Some hours.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It was always problem for children to wait so long for dinner. And tonight we missed dinner. Where is dinner? after second cup, traditionally we have a very beautiful dinner, also with this sweet fish carp, and yes, many traditional meal. Is this also chicken broth with knedle,
Oh, Canella, yeah.
matzoh.
Bernie,
And pardon?
We did it also in Paris. Kneidler
Yeah, knedle.
with yoch and Kneidler.
Right.
Bernie, maybe you can explain our relationship with Karen and Wojtek for those that don't know, and maybe you can talk a little bit about the sign, and maybe Wojtek and Karen can share that progress if it's appropriate to do that right now.
So those of you who don't know, I want to introduce Wojtek Wasilewski and Karen Forth, who live in Krakow, but have a close connection to Gombin. Wojtek is the artist and architect who designed the scale model of the Gombin synagogue, and which is it still located at the Ethnographic Museum in Warsaw?
Yes.
Yes. So the original is located at the Ethnographic Museum in Warsaw, and then Wojtek made a film of the both outside and inside of the synagogue, a virtual tour of the ancient synagogue of Gombin. It's located on our website, and you can see it. It's not very long. It's, I think, 17 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
And it takes you completely through the synagogue with recreations of the interior of the synagogue, including the decorations of the bima and the Aron Kodesh and the way people, the women's balcony, more than one balcony actually.
Yeah.
So it's
two.
And then you've made other films, including interviewing witnesses to the Holocaust, the tour of Gombin and Gostinin that took place in May of 2019. And we're very grateful for this relationship. And now we're waiting for the spring, I think, to erect a monument in Gombin to the synagogue that Wojtek designed, and it will be in the main town square, the old marketplace. And you want to update people about when it will be erected and when we expect it?
Yeah, for all those works, I cooperate together with my friends, Polish friends. It's not only me. Karen is one from our team. Actually, it's 6 persons participate for these works. And about the board, memory board, everything is ready and prepared. And we just waiting for good weather and possibility time to install in Gombin, in very nice place in the market square.
Okay.
That's
we've been working on this project for so many years. It will be an absolute miracle when it's finally erected and we can travel again to Poland and see it and celebrate it. So.
Yeah. And it's a question about some official opening, because we can install quite soon. I think maybe on beginning of May, but it's a question for how to make some celebration for it. I think we will discuss how to make officially together with members of the Gombin society. Hopefully that time will give such opportunity, but maybe if not with some Gombin people, maybe just together with the mayor and school pupils and inhabitants of Gombin on Zoom, maybe on the big screen nearby. I think it is possible to organize such event.
I think
Are
we
your
should do,
borders open? Wojtek, can we come over?
Yeah, if we would love it if you can get a flight.
Yeah, like some of us are vaccinated and I don't know, I've heard they're gonna like kind of not Poland, US, but that some sort of general passport's gonna be needed that shows vaccination, but I certainly would like to be there for it and have been vaccinated and all that good stuff. So, you know, definitely let's all keep in contact regarding that because those of us who want to come would love to come, I'm sure.
we'll inform everyone. I
But
just want to say, I just want to repeat how grateful I am to Wojtek and Karen for the friendship they've given to those of us who, the friendship that we've had over these years, and to all of our other friends. It's been a real, it's been very amazing to me, having come from families who were, you know, more connected to the Holocaust and so forth, and troubled with their Polish history, that we have so many friends in Poland who really care about the multicultural history of Poland and the Jewish community in Poland, and that's what we're seeking. So our gratitude will always be there for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Everything is happened by our friend relation. It's when we met together in Warsaw, I think already 5 years ago, together with Arthur Gertzman and his wife. I say it for myself. By this relation, I can do something more, and I've got there's a lot of experiences and yeah, some ideas and the good feeling to struggle also for some difficulties in Gombin, especially with the city hall people. It was not easy, and people around in Gombin. It was, but we have some progress that I like very much. And yes, you are my family. That's what's in my heart. I hope to respond this what I got from you.
Beck and Karen, you guys have been such a strong support to us, and you've certainly been our voice on the ground. And Wojtek, your dedication and your desire to see this through, I think, has at times given us the strength over here to continue. And it's happening because of you, man. I mean, you're just awesome, and it's really appreciated. I get tears in my eyes when I think about it. So. Because it's been a struggle. The mayor has not been receptive for all these years. So it's nice to get up there.
It's coming up to about 8 o'clock in London. So we are going to sign off now and have our Seder, our meal. Okay.
I do. Yes. Thanks. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
I do want to bring up, Bernie, I've been speaking to Dahlia here. She's new to our, this is the first time she's joined us, and she's from Calgary, and I wanted to introduce her and have her tell us her story and why she's joining us.
Hi, my name's Dahlia.
Hi.
And my family name is Bear. My grandfather, Michael Bear, came from Gombin. Mina Zolanko is a cousin. We've just made that connection. I know she's unwell, but her father, Michael Bear Zolanka, was first cousins with my grandfather, Michael Bear. So 2 Michael Bears. Mm-hmm. I have done a lot of research in the last 2 years about my history. All 4 of my grandparents are survivors. I've made a connection. I found a long lost relative named Daphna Delinko from Yad Vashem through my mother's side. She started to find me documents on Gombin, which ultimately led to Yad Vashem doing what they did with their virtual interactive maps. So I've learned a lot about Gombin in the last little while. I have a trip planned, and a lot of names. Melvin Rubel, I mean, I know my grandfather, I believe, was in Conan with him. Ben Geyer, they survived the war together. I have the stories of them holding hands, Michael and Ben holding hands when they arrived at Auschwitz, when they got into what they thought was the gas chamber, and they pinched themselves because it was water, and they said, am I alive, am I alive? So I have, over the years, acquired a lot of stories, and now I've been piecing them together. And this is kind of what I do in my spare time. So it's nice to connect and meet everyone. And yeah, this was kind of the first time I've come to other events, just haven't, sometimes the timing, I'm in Canada. So sometimes the timing doesn't work, but that's kind of my story.
Awesome. Welcome.
Can I ask a question? Dahlia, have you ever been in touch with Hannah Edelman, who is Ben Geyer's daughter?
I reached out to her. I didn't get a response. So I don't know if I had her email address, but I did send her.
I have her address. I'll let her know that you were on this call. And if Vicky has your email address, we'll connect the two of you.
Okay.
I'm sure she would love to talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to piece more and more together. It's not everybody in my family can talk about these things, so I'm a little bit of an anomaly on my own, but I would love to.
That would be awesome. When is your trip planned?
Pardon me?
When is your trip planned?
Well, I was planning to go this spring. That obviously isn't happening. So I've mapped out from all 4 of my grandparents, each of their towns, and specific locations connected to each of them. So Chelmno, we lost a lot of family, but on different sides of my family. Family from the partisans. So I'm going to be going through the different towns, the different camps, the labor camps, the death camps, and the forests. And I'm hoping, I don't know, maybe it's probably another year away realistically. So I've got my itinerary. I just need to now get vaccinated and travel.
Well, keep in touch and
let us know when you're in Poland and if we can help you or host you.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you.
If Vicky puts us or me or Wojtek in touch, then
yeah.
May I ask a question of Dahlia? Are you the Dahlia who is associated with Find a Grave? Have you been working to photograph graves? There is a Dahlia who's photographed a lot of my family's graves in New Jersey. But it's not you. It's a different Dahlia.
Okay. I've never been to New Jersey.
Thank you.
Well,
I have the name of a wonderful guide in Poland who helped my family find people that hid them during the war. So if you're interested in the name of a very knowledgeable guide.
Okay. I would love that. Anyhow.
Keep in touch and keep an eye on the website and that, because we've sponsored a couple trips over already, and we'll be doing more probably maybe by next year. So thanks for joining. It's awesome meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this.
Oh,
I knew growing up, my grandfather was part of the Gombin Society. And I just remember thinking that was like where they played cards or something, because that was like what he would tell me. But anyway, so now I wish he was around and we could do this together, but I'm glad to be part of it.
That's awesome that you're doing it. Can I ask who's on the phone, the 413 number?
Ken and Helena. Ken Letterman and Helena Dinnerman.
Ah.
I'm Anita's cousin from the Greenbaum family.
Well, thanks for joining. Thanks. Well, I know it's late.
Our wedding picture is in the Warsaw Jewish Museum.
Say that one more time.
Our wedding picture is in the Warsaw Jewish Museum or Ethnographic Museum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you get such an honor?
I don't know. We didn't do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my mother, Rose Greenbaum Dinnerman, survived in hiding.
And her story is in the Yisker book.
Right, yeah.
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 Awesome.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to ring off too.
Yeah, we're coming up in an hour. Thank
Yeah.
you, everybody. I know there wasn't, as large a turnout as some other things, but it was such a pleasure. For me, I'm going to speak, and it's awesome connecting with people from all over the world and somehow having a connection and then sharing the holiday with you. So
Yeah.
thank you for joining, really, truly.
Chag Sameach, Pesach, and remember April 18th, Lindsay, you're going to be on, and we're looking forward to it. Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Meryl, thanks for all your stories and sharing.
Time.
Cool.
Bezwissen Pesach.